Hello, and welcome to the Thursday, August 7th meeting of TV Toastmasters, Club 9523. We'd like for you to join us whenever you have the opportunity. You can check us out on www.tvtoastmasters.com. We meet the first Thursday of the month at 6 p.m. and the third Saturday of the month at 9 a.m. at 7850 5 Mile Road. You're always welcome. I'd now like to turn it over to the Toastmaster for today, Mr. Rick Barron.
Thank you, Michelle. I'm looking forward to today's meeting because we have an opportunity to hear from people that I've not yet heard speak. So it's always exciting when I get a chance to hear new people share what they have at our meeting. So I'm very much looking forward to it, and I think you will too. So don't change the channel or click the mouse to go to a different station. What we're going to do first is we're going to introduce our guests. We've got two guests in the studio today with us. Bette Zwayer and Alex Lee are here joining us in the studio. I thought Paula was a member.
She's a member of Toastmasters.
I'm sorry. I thought Paula Dawes was a member of TV Toastmasters, and Paula Dawes, who will be speaking with us today.
Carol would like that.
Yes.
Yes.
I thought we all liked that. I thought you were a member. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. We'll now get started with our meeting. The first portion of our meeting is the word of the day, and I'd like to introduce Jean Ho.
Thank you, Steve. Today, the word of the day is contemplative. It's meditative or thoughtful. That's the definition. And to use the word, we could, for example, would be the relaxing, contemplative aspects of art can help lower the stress levels of what we all recognize can be a high-stress environment. That'd be an example. So the word today is contemplative, which means thoughtful or meditative. So hopefully you enjoy using the word. Here.
Thank you, Jean.
Thank you.
Let's leave that here to remind people. Jean, let's leave that here so people can be reminded that they will have to be contemplative in their responses today. Our next portion of the meeting is our impromptu speaking portion of the meeting. And here's where we practice responding to questions without any preparation. That meeting that you're in when somebody turns and looks to you and says, I don't know, Rick, what do you think? What? You're asking me? I have to give an answer? I wasn't prepared to do that. This is where we practice on doing just that, giving responses to questions that we didn't know were coming. And our Tabletopics master today is the contemplative Bette Zwayer.
Thank you, Rick. This is the portion of the meeting where I will ask you a question and you can contemplate your answer for a moment before you answer in 1 to 2 minutes. I wasn't aware of a theme, so I brought my trusty list of 140 questions. You can pick a number from 1 to 140, and I will ask you that question. Alex, could I call on you first?
Sure.
Contemplating whether it should come up or not.
What number would you like?
Let's do 13.
13. If you were a scientist, what problem would you work on?
If I were a scientist, what problem would I work on? Probably alternative energy, because these days fossil fuels are being depleted so rapidly. Alternative energy would be very useful to, a lot of the energy issues that we are having today. The energy crisis, incorporates a lot of different issues. Water remediation, basically, what are we going to do with the automobile industry? So there are a lot of different things that solving the energy crisis would fix. And That's all I have.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
As a 35-year employee of the Environmental Protection Agency, I love that answer. Jean, could I call on you next? And what number
Okay.
would you like?
What would I like to?
What number would you like?
Oh, I'm taking a number.
From 1 to 140.
Oh, geez. All right, let's go with 13.
That's what he just picked.
Oh,
Let's do
really?
something different.
Well, I would like to be. No, just kidding. All right, let's go for 26.
26.
I hope it's an easy one.
They're all easy.
Oh yeah.
Where are you from, and what are 1, 2 things that you like about it? Where are you from, and what are 1 or 2 things you like about it?
Oh, okay. Well, originally I lived or moved from Philadelphia, and the 2 things that I really loved back then when I lived in Philadelphia was that, for one thing, they didn't call it the city of brotherhood love for anything because it has a lot of diversity. So most of my friends were either Italian or Irish, and just a lot of mixtures, which I really like. And the other thing, of course, is, well, I have a weakness for food, so it would be the steak, the Philly steaks. I love those. Can't get enough of that. They make the best Philly steaks. So those are 2 things that I like about Philadelphia. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean.
You're welcome, baby.
That's what I would like about Philadelphia, too. And I understand that they don't really put green peppers in there in Philadelphia. Right. I hate green peppers. How many questions do you do? We have time for more. All righty. Michelle, could I call on you?
I'm going to go with trusted number 1.
All righty. If you could do something dangerous just once with no risk, what would it be?
Oh, goodness. That's the question that I have to be a little bit contemplative before I answer. If I could do one thing without any risk for one time, I would probably say jump off of a building. Right? Spider-Man, Superman, all these guys, they get to run, they get to leap. Maybe I would jump from building to building with the opportunity to not fall in between and die. I think that would be pretty exciting. I could start a career in action films, and it may potentially lead to the opportunity to be a stunt person. As far as the risk involved, I don't have any this time, but in other cases, I could potentially hurt myself. I don't think my husband or my family would appreciate me jumping off of a building, but I think if I knew there wasn't any danger involved, that's what I would pick to do.
That sounds great to me. I would be right there with you. Rick, would you like to answer a question or just return the... All right. What number would you like?
My birthday is on the 25th of May, so I will go with number 25.
25. If you could trade places with anyone in the world, who would it be and why?
If I could trade places with anyone in the world, who would it be and why? I would trade places with Neil Armstrong because one of my goals is to step foot on the moon. And I'm not sure that in my lifetime that's going to happen. I don't know that I could write the $250,000 check that I need to be able to go orbit the planet. And I haven't seen anything lately about returning to the moon or beyond, maybe even going to Mars. So I think if I'm going to have to achieve my goal of stepping foot on the moon, I'm going to have to trade places with Neil Armstrong. But Mr. Armstrong just passed away, didn't he? Unfortunately. So I would have to go backward in time to trade places with him because I don't know that it makes sense to trade places with a dead guy. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But maybe if I had his experiences and his mental stuff, that would be what I would do. Neil Armstrong, that's who I would trade places with.
Inspired answer. Thank you. Steve, how about putting you on the spot when you walk in the room? Would you like to answer a table topics question?
And our word of the day is contemplate. We've already done it.
I brought my trusty list of 140 questions, so you can pick a number.
Oh.
From 1 to 140.
Okay, I'll
Well, you
take
can't pick
6.
one. 6. Who in your family does the wackiest things?
Oh my. Who in my family does the wackiest things? I would say in my family, the person who does the wackiest things is our younger dog, Sprout. Sprout is quite the enthusiastic little pup, and she jumps all the time. I told my wife when we first got her, I thought it would be really cool to have her jump into your arms when you held your arms out. She said, you might not want to do that because what'll happen is someone will come over and they'll go like this and they'll have dog in their arms and they won't be expecting it. She's quite the character. She pays a lot of attention to things because you'll talk to her and she'll tilt her head to one side or the other. She will also approach just about anything with exuberance. If I go to bed earlier, and I usually do go to bed earlier than my wife, and I don't close the bedroom door, she'll come up there, and I think she comes by just to say goodnight and make sure that she's cementing her place in my heart. But she comes flying up on the bed, and she's in your face, licking all over and nibbling on your ears when you're trying to sleep. So even though she's not a human member of my family, she certainly is very much a member of our family, and she's secured her place in our hearts. Madam Tabletopics Master?
Thank you, Steve. That's exactly who I thought you were going to say. We all love Sprout. I think that's it. We'll give our speakers a break. I'm looking forward to hearing their speeches.
Thank you, Betty. It's always fun to have different people do table topics because they're always so creative in how they do it. I've seen people make you do table topics blindfolded, all kinds of things. But I've never seen where you have to come and pick your topic. That is always so creative. We get to see all kinds of different things that people do. We'll now move to the portion of our meeting where we have prepared speeches. This is where people are working from manuals, learning specific skills from the Toastmasters educational program. And they get an opportunity to come up here and show us what they've learned as they study the program, practice and rehearse their speeches, and then come up here and deliver it for all of us. Then we move to the evaluation portion of our meeting where we provide them some constructive feedback on how they can improve their presentation or the skills that they're trying to practice the next time that they have an opportunity to do so. Our first speaker today is a guest, so it's nice to be able to welcome people in to our meeting. Paula Dawes is working from a specialty speech, Uplift the Spirit. Be 8 to 10 minutes. Her speech title is, You Can Steer Yourself Any Direction You Choose. To set the stage for Paula's speech, she'll be addressing attendees at a celebration banquet for the Fitbit Get Out and Explore Challenge. Her 8 to 10 minute inspirational speech will be at the finale of an 18-month journey. You can steer yourself any direction you choose. Paula Dawes.
Thank you. Good evening and welcome to the finale of our Fitbit Get Out and Explore Challenge. First, I would like to say congratulations. What an exciting event and what an exciting accomplishment. You have walked from Rome, Italy to London, England, 1,168 miles. What an awesome accomplishment. I would also like to thank the family and friends that came with you this evening to celebrate. We could not have done this without their support. Do you remember how you were standing in this room 18 months ago? How did you feel? Were you contemplative? I know that very many of you spoke about what you wanted to accomplish on this journey. Carol, you wanted to lose your muffin top. Rick, you wanted to fit in your favorite pair of khaki pants. And Jean, you wanted to lose 25 pounds. And I could identify because my favorite pair of jeans just wouldn't button anymore. We all had different ways of defining what a healthy weight was. As we stood there, I wondered, did our pants really not fit overnight? Did they really? We were looking for an instantaneous weight loss. And it wasn't going to happen because it didn't happen overnight. This was not a TV show where you make a wish and you snap your fingers and right after the commercial break, you're right back where you wanted to be. This was going to be a much longer journey. It was more like a caterpillar during metamorphosis that turns into a beautiful butterfly. That day, I gave you a rainbow of colors, and I asked you to design your own butterfly. I chose tan and purple, and I used it to design the pin that I wear this evening. But you were so much more creative than I was. Lime green, indigo blue, sunset red. Those were great colors. They were unique designs, and they were unique just like you. I asked you to take that butterfly and place it up on the refrigerator so that every time you passed it and every time you opened it, it was a reminder for you. But I also asked you to take a memento, a picture of what it was that you really wanted to achieve. A muffin top, picture of your favorite pants, possibly the number 25. Your ultimate goal. Dan coined the phrase, your destination postcard. And it hit home. He was right. That was really the ultimate journey that we were going to take. As I announced the route and the number of 1,168 came up, a huge number. I heard groans and I heard a few, impossible. There is no way I can do this. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, but it is still 1,000 miles. It was impossible. I am so proud of you, the way that you rose to the challenge once the disbelief and shock wore off. The first thing we did was we took that huge number and we put it up on the map along with the route that we were going to take. And then we then started to use our pins to put the increments, because what we needed to do was take that huge number and make it smaller, more manageable, and something we knew we could accomplish. We started with 50-mile increments, and we would put a pin up. We got a little more confident. We went to 100, and before you know it, you were ready to take 150-mile increments. When you looked at the board, you could see the route. It was easy to see where our pins were, and it made it so much more of a visual for you as to what you were going to accomplish. It was also one huge push pin. But we also knew that we had to have some celebrations along with these accomplishments. So every time that we reached a segment where we achieved it, we wanted to celebrate. It was Sarah's idea to pick restaurants in those locations, look at the menu, and pick something that we wanted to do. Whether you cooked the meal in your home or we went to a restaurant that had similar fare, we enjoyed this together. You took pictures of what you had made and sent it to each other. You also took pictures of yourself sitting in the restaurant, having a drink, enjoying the food. It took this virtual journey and made it like you were really there. It was motivating, and you all took to that with a lot of enthusiasm, I must say. This was a challenge that many of you thought was impossible. And by breaking it down, it made it easier to concentrate on the smaller ones building up your time, looking at your accomplishments, and knowing what you could finish on the way. Sarah could not be with us this evening. She is currently in Bothell, Washington, running in their Call of the Wild Marathon. It is her 4th marathon since starting this journey. What Sarah found as she began this journey was that she loved to run. Had she not started with us, she would have never known that. The easy thing about this whole thing was that our Fitbit pedometers updated every night our miles and our steps. So we had a board that was easy for us to see where everybody was, and a few of you took this to heart, making it a competition. Who could I pass? But you also took it as somebody was behind, and I need to go ahead and send you an email to encourage you to come. Also, I do know there were a few taunts. Catch me if you can. But this was never a journey about one winner. It was a journey about everybody winning, the accomplishments that we took. Tonight in your gift bag, you will find a menu with the recipes that go with that, the route map, a new Fitbit, because many of you have told me that it was in the washing machine several times. And you also get a coupon for a brand new pair of shoes, because I know that you have worn your other ones out. During this impossible journey, you have done so many things. The other thing that is in that bag is your very own unique butterfly as a magnet with the number 1168. Every time you come up on an impossible task, I would like you to have that butterfly up there. When you walk by it and you look at it, remember the lessons that you've learned on this journey, and know that you can do anything that you put your mind to. One of the impossible tasks coming up is that we're going to be walking along the American Discovery Trail from Delaware to California. Many of you will join us, and I would love to encourage the family and friends to join us as well. There's going to be an email out about it shortly, but if you're really excited about it, you can look out on our website, go ahead and sign up, and we'll be happy to send you the information. I would like to close this with the same quote that I started you with 18 months ago by my favorite doctor. You have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself in any direction you choose. You're on your own, and you know what you know, and you are the one who'll decide where to go. Dr. Seuss. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paula. May I have a minute on the timer for the evaluator to prepare their evaluation, and we'll be back after this break from our sponsor.
All the education in the world won't help you get ahead in life if you can't express your ideas effectively. Every day, competition for advancement gets tougher and tougher. You need an edge. A Toastmasters club can give you that edge. A low-cost learning experience for men and women. Toastmasters gives you the confidence to express your ideas to anyone. Get the Toastmasters edge.
Welcome back. We now continue with our second prepared speech today. Both speeches today are from advanced manuals, from advanced Toastmasters. So we're very fortunate today to be able to have some interesting topics and some different perspectives on the whole concept of the learning and educational program within Toastmasters. The second speech today is from one of our most distinguished Toastmasters in the club, Miss Kormelink. She is working from the Communicating on Television manual, the press conference. Her speech title is Former Employee Mr. Smith. Carol will be speaking from the Communicating on Television Advanced Manual Project 4. the press conference. She'll be giving the company's viewpoint to the recent news article about the unfair treatment Mr. Smith thinks he received from the Train the Trainer company. She will address the issue for 3 to 5 minutes, then invite questions from the press for 2 to 3 minutes. Carol Kormelink, former employee, Mr. Smith.
I'd like to thank the members of the press for coming here today to hear the action to address the action that the Train the Trainer Corporation LLC took in response to fire Mr. Smith because he was having an affair. I'm Carol Kormelink, the owner president of the Train the Trainer LLC company. Having an affair is contrary to company policy of integrity, trust, respect, and excellence, a must for providing service to our clients. When Mr. Smith's affair was brought to our attention, after much contemplation, we offered Mr. Smith the option of seeking help to work through this unfortunate phase of his life. He also had the option to seek employment elsewhere if our work environment was not the right culture for him. Every privilege carries a responsibility. If an employee chooses not to honor his responsibility to himself, he loses the privilege of working for the Train the Trainer LLC. Mr. Smith, I was very sad to hear this, and I will address any questions that you may have in relation to the firing of Mr. Smith. Rick, where's your question?
Nobody gave me a question to ask.
May go on.
I've got a question.
Yes.
What kind of evidence did you have that Mr. Smith was having this affair?
What kind of evidence did we have that Mr. Smith was having this affair? Unfortunately, Mr. Smith, in his state of mind, posted his lovemaking on his Facebook page. I don't think that was made up, but that was pretty good evidence for me that Mr. Smith was having an affair. Yes.
Well, how did you know when that video was taken? That video could have been taken years ago before Mr. Smith was married.
Well, it could have been, except the date on it said that it was yesterday.
Okay, I understand maybe you've got grounds to fire Mr. Smith, but he's been an employee for a very long time. Are you going to give him any kind of severance package or anything of that nature?
Yes, after much contemplation, he was a good employee until his life took a turn for the worse. And he has earned 4 weeks of severance pay, which was given to him when he was severed. And he will also keep the benefits. What he had put into his retirement plan the portion will go to him that he put in. Yes?
Say you gave him an option to go through counseling or to seek counseling. Did he choose not to? Or was that, even if he did go to counseling, he was still grounded for dismissal?
No, if he had gone to counseling, because everyone has the temptation, and unfortunately, when you give into it, you should be given the opportunity to make amends. And he chose, he's madly in love with this person that's not his wife, and he chose not to go to counseling. And that was his choice. We have the freedom to choose what we want to do. And as I said, every privilege carries a responsibility. And if you don't keep the responsibility, you no longer get the privilege. With no further questions, I will conclude our interview for the day. And thank you for coming. And I hope you will see our viewpoint. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Carol. Just gets more and more interesting every time, doesn't it? The kinds of things we talk about here at Toastmasters. We'll be back after a word from our sponsor.
What future do you envision for yourself? What dreams do you have? If you want your dreams to come true, you must have confidence in yourself and your abilities. A Toastmasters Club can help you build that confidence. A low-cost learning experience for men and women. Toastmasters shows you how to express yourself clearly and effectively. Make your dreams a reality. Join a Toastmasters Club.
Welcome back. We now transition to the evaluation portion of our meeting. Here's where Toastmasters provide input, feedback, and perspective based on the educational criteria that was listed in the project that the person was up here to deliver. This is how we all grow together in Toastmasters, each providing one another input and feedback on how to continuously improve themselves. It's not just about overcoming your fear, standing up here and delivering a speech that you've prepared for over and over and over again. It's about standing, listening, providing some input and feedback to fellow Toastmasters, and then coming up here and sharing that so they can grow on their journey. As the general evaluator, I have a team of people who will provide that feedback to the people who spoke today. And the first person on my team who will give input, feedback on Paula's speech is Bette Zwayer. Thank you, Bette.
Thank you. Paula, thank you for your speech. I talked to you beforehand and asked if you had any personal goals. You said that you wanted to remember everything you've already learned. So I thought I would tie my evaluation to the 10 projects in the CC manual, because I think you hit them all quite well. The first one, as we know, is the icebreaker, which is to get to know her better, and I think that we did. Your personality came through in your speech. Number 2, and I hope I remembered all these in order, organize your speech. I thought your speech was very well organized. Excuse me. And number 3, get to the point. Well, right away we knew exactly what you were talking about and who you were talking to. I thought it was really an inspired, creative idea. I can't believe that you made up this organization. You had so many details. I would have believed, if you hadn't told me, I would have believed everything you said. It was just really creative. You did well, I thought, number 4, how to say it. You made it personal. You involved members of the audience because you told little stories about each of them and involved everybody. And I didn't make my notes in order, so I have to bob up and down it. You also had great humor. Of all people, to suggest that Jean's goal was to lose 25 pounds. She wouldn't be seen on camera, I don't think. And people losing their fit kit in the washing machine. Everybody could relate to that. And then your term destination postcard, I thought was really a great use of words. I liked that a lot. Number 5 is body language. Well, I thought you did really well there. You had very natural movements. And you used, when you said make a wish and snapping your fingers, you did very well. And you also stepped back from the lectern so that you had room to make some of those gestures. Number 6 is vocal. Well, I thought you did a really nice job with that. You have a very pleasing voice. One thing I would suggest is that you might work on speaking a little louder, projecting a little more, because it is all of us women, most of us women have a quieter voice, so projecting more would help with that. Number 7 was research. Well, I'm willing to bet that you had to research that it was 1,168 miles from Rome to London. Or you made it up like everything else, and it was great.
That is real, and there's actually a marathon in Buffalo, Washington.
Great. Well, like I said, I believed everything you said. Number 8 is visual aids. You didn't have any props or anything, but I thought you painted a wonderful visual picture. You talked about a rainbow of colors, lime green, sunset red. We all could see those colors when you spoke. Number 9, persuade. I think it was nice that you sort of included that in your speech because you obviously persuaded everyone to participate in the walk. And number 10, inspire. Well, the whole speech was inspire. And the really nice twist I liked about it was how you had the little goodie bags, and what they were ending up doing was inspiring themselves with their own achievement. So very nice job. I enjoyed it very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Betty. Very contemplative evaluation. That's really what they're about. Taking the time to listen, looking at the objectives for the program, contemplating how they were delivered, and then providing some perspective and input to be able to help each one of us grow. Very good, Betty. Thank you very much. Our second evaluation today is of Carol's speaking on video speech, and it will be done by Michelle Lewis. Michelle?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Carol, excellent speech today. Definitely entertained me, as you all saw with my giggle fit earlier. Carol is working on the communication on television manual, and she did number 4 of the press conference. Her objectives were to understand the nature of a television press conference, to prepare for an adversary confrontation on a controversial or sensitive issue, to employ appropriate preparation methods and strategies for communicating your organization's viewpoint, and to present and maintain a positive image on television. Carol did a fantastic job of addressing the situation right up front. It was very clear what Mr. Smith had done, and it was very clear what her training the trainers company, what their position was. She gave us an acronym. I missed the first letter, but it was trust, respect, excellence. So she was very clear on this is what we believe in. These are our policies, and we're not going to change the rules just because somebody doesn't think it's right. So did a very good job of being clear and concise. Maybe a little bit too brief. I think you, not that I was kind of sneaking a look, I think you were at about 1:30 for that first portion, where I think your time goal was 3 to 5 minutes. So maybe you should have focused a little bit more on that portion. But also, I like the fact that you were very brief and concise, because any good press conference, they get to the point. There's not a lot of added verbiage, and it's not a lot of other things going on. So I think you did that very well. I think you held your position, your movements. You were very stoic, but that's a very sensitive and a very serious matter. So you weren't giggling, and you did add a little humor, but I don't think it was necessarily on purpose. But your gestures were minimal, and your body movement was minimal, which was very appropriate for the topic and the situation. So did a fantastic job there. And I think you did a great job answering the questions. You were quick to answer. You were very confident in your answer. You weren't wishy-washy at all. So you continued to hold your firm position of your company and in the situation, in the matter. And you did a very good job of addressing the press. So fantastic job, Carol.
Thank you, Michelle. What do you say when you don't know what you're going to say? Most people fill that silence with, I'm not sure, let me think about, I don't know. We practice that here on how to eliminate those filler words and those transition words. And to do that, we have somebody that counts them every time somebody says them. So not only is Jean Ho our grammarian, our counter, and the word of the day, she's got big shoes to fill today. Jean Ho.
Thank you, Rick. Okay, for the word of the day, as I should first say that as a role as a grammarian, of course, I have to make sure that not only do you use the word of the day, but also keep track of the counting, as Rick mentioned, as well as the eloquence of speech. So I will be gentle. Actually, I think I'm pretty easy on this. Betty, or actually I should say your Tabletopics for Alex was...
I don't want to hear mine.
No, actually, considering it your first time, Alex, I thought you were pretty good, pretty brave, and I think for anyone first time, for the I mean, it's natural because we just put you on a spot here. So I'm going to be kind enough to say, well, yeah, you had a few more ums and ers than everybody else, but that's how I started. So in all fairness, I would like to say thank you for braving it and, doing one of our table topics. So we hope you come back again, and I'm sure that those ums and ers will gradually just somehow disappear, and you'll be able to speak as well as Carol or Michelle or Rick or Paula. I'm still working towards it, so you're not alone. As for Michelle, of course, Michelle, we always enjoy you speaking. And you did use the word of the day, thank you. I did not recall hearing an or like, but I think that you say your words so well that it probably second nature to you, so you don't even think about the pauses in there. And of course, you had your fluency of words, so I enjoyed your speech. So there's nothing I could say to add to that. Rick, you also used the word of the day, and I don't recall ever hearing ahs or so there again, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the right person. I'm looking, Rick, Steve. Rick, I really can't say I have anything to add to your answer to table topic because you answered it well, fluently, directly. I didn't see any hesitation. It's like it's like somebody had asked you, what do you want to be when you want to grow up? And you said, oh, I already know what I want to be, so here it is. I want to be an astronaut. So that was an easy enough question, so there was no hesitation there. And for Paula, we enjoyed your speech too. And you also managed to throw in the contemplative word in there. Thank you. There were no ahs that I could count. There were a few times that I think you might have caught yourself when you maybe stopped. But I think it was more of a natural pause where you just simply remembered no crutches. You just simply paused, and that was great. And you just carried on your speech eloquently, where it transitioned over, where we knew what you didn't go from one topic to another. It just carried over really well. We knew what we were saying. So that was very good. Carol, of course, we enjoyed your speech as well. And you also threw in that word amidst the fact that we were talking about someone having an affair that was, not work, how would I say, not work ethics. But you were able to throw in that word, so thank you. And, of course, there was no ah counter for me to count. And of course, I enjoyed the eloquency and the way you present the situation without having to have people doubt, is she really just making this up, or does she have doubts herself? You presented it really well with the fluency of it. You said what you believed and carried it out very smoothly. So that is my wrap for today.
Thank you, Jean.
Thank you.
Once you spend a little time up here, you get kind of comfortable up here, and you really don't want to leave. That's where our timer comes in. The timer lets you know when it's time to move on. All of our portions in the meeting have specific time frames in which they're supposed to fall, and our timer helps keep us on track. You may have noticed that we've put our guests to work today, and we're very fortunate to have guests that wanted to come and participate. Our timer today is Alex Lee. Alex, would you please come up and give us your timer report?
Yeah. Thank you. All right. So for the word of the day, Jean, she had 38 seconds. And next is Tabletopics. I had 41 seconds. Jean had 46 seconds. Michelle had 1 minute, 5 seconds. Rick had 1 minute, 10 seconds. And Steve had 1 minute and 40 seconds. And then the next up is speakers. Paula, you were going for 8 to 10 seconds, or 8 to 10 minutes, and you had 8 minutes and 55 seconds. Yep. And then Carol, you had 2 parts. The first part was going to be 3 to 5 minutes, and you hit 1 minute and 38 seconds for that. And then the second part was 2 to 3 minutes you were aiming for, and you had 2 minutes and 40 seconds. And the evaluators, Betty, you had 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Michelle, you had 2 minutes and 40 seconds. And for grammarian, Jean, you just had 4 minutes and 48 seconds. And that concludes the timing.
Thank you, Alex. As a general evaluator, I also have an opportunity to just comment on the meeting. We did get started a little late. Part of that was my fault for showing up a little late. I apologize for that. It's always difficult to make the transition between work and coming in afterwards, and I didn't do a good job of that today. I apologize. We did have to do a little bit of shuffling with the agenda. That seems to be pretty common. I think we did that pretty well after the meeting, or before the meeting started, to just kind of rearrange things, fill in some roles, get things clear as to who was doing what. And we're very fortunate, as I said earlier, to have some guests that wanted to step up and be in front of the camera. That doesn't always happen. So congratulations to all of you for stepping up to being interested in doing that. The meeting itself always goes well. It's fun, it's exciting, and it's something that I hope each and every one of you out there will choose to come and join us, because we get a chance to watch one another grow. They come in here, as Jean talked about, stumbling over their tongue, uncertain of what to say and how to say it. And after making it through a few prepared speeches, we get to watch this butterfly that Paula was talking about emerge from that cocoon, and to be able to say, wow, why don't you go back and watch some of those programs from 1 or 2 or 3 months ago and just watch how you've grown while you've been here. It really is about suiting up, showing up, and getting involved. And we all get a chance to help one another grow through the process. I'd like to ask to see whether or not any of our guests would like to make any comments about the meeting. Betty, Alex, Paula, just as guests, insights, observations.
I had a great time.
Come on up. Yep.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, no. Are you going to make it?
You can tell I've had coffee. I enjoyed myself very much. I've been meaning to visit this club for quite a while. I've watched some of your videos online, and of course it's always more fun in person. And now I get to be in one myself. But it was nice to see 3 old friends, and I made 3 new ones, so win-win. Well, I hope it was win-win. It was a win for me.
Win-win for us, too. Anybody else? Come on up, Alex.
Thanks. This was a really good experience for me. I'm generally extremely nervous in front of the camera, so it was an inspiration to see, everyone so well composed and well spoken, and it's inspiring that with more practice I can do this later on. So I really enjoyed it, and everyone was super friendly and fun. So.
Thank you. We hope you'll come back. Paula, anything from you? Okay. I'd like to return control of the meeting to our presiding officer, Michelle Lewis.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. I agree. I'm very contemplative that this was a wonderful meeting today, and we enjoyed our guests, we enjoyed our speeches, and as always, a great time. So we hope that you, looking at home, will think about coming and joining us. And you can find out more details on www.tvtoastmasters.com. We meet the first Thursday of the month at 6 p.m. and the third Saturday of the month at 9 a.m. at 7850 5 Mile Road. So please, take a minute out of your Saturday, take a minute out of your Thursday, and come check us out. This concludes the Thursday, August 7th meeting of TV Toastmasters Club 9523. And I don't have my...
All the education in the world won't help you get ahead in life if you can't express your ideas effectively. Every day, competition for advancement gets tougher and tougher. You need an edge. A Toastmasters Club can give you that edge. A low-cost learning experience for men and women. Toastmasters gives you the confidence to express your ideas to anyone. Get the Toastmasters edge.